Yeah, hi. So, welcome to Sridhar's newsletter number 31 and the podcast. Appreciate you being here so we can weekly connect on interesting topics. And please do subscribe to my website, which is sridharkarkiparty.substack.com, or do subscribe to Apple or Spotify podcast. The show name is Minimalist Techie on both of these platforms. So, so basically, this is a weekly newsletter where mostly we talk about different articles, books, videos, etc. What I read, watch, my views on different topics which revolves around my head during the week. Now let's dive into this week's reads. So hire slow and fire fast. So this seems to be outrageous, right? It is not. You'll find multiple articles written on this and why this needs to be emphasized more. There is always a pressure on leadership to fill the position quickly, but they have to take a step back and see really at an individual level if they meet their team culture or not. Just hard skills are not enough to make a hire. You need to make sure they fit into your team culture. If you end up hiring a wrong person and realize this in just 2 weeks, don't drag this for 4 or 5 months in the feedback, performance improvement plan, PIP, and whatnot. You and me both have seen these type of situations during our careers. Either you are the lead or you are part of the team where you will see an impact for sure. If you are taking beyond 3 months of feedback, etc., then you are just creating a mess for yourself and also for the other person. I would not give reasons to justify you in this case, as you will clearly see or know when it impacts you and your team. So don't take it for granted and have the hard conversations way early when you are in the cracks. Have your one-on-one discussions have your one-on-one discussions especially with them and lay it out very politely that it is not right fit for both. Let them know their talent is good, it's just that they don't meet your team culture. Never move this person to another department, as you will just make it someone else's problem. Let them know ahead and help them to give or take a proper feedback and help them in a job search process. Let's go fast. It will be in a let it go fast. So you need to let go of your hire. It will be in a doing a greater good to you and to your team, who will be in a discomfort during all your performance improvement plan as you work within a wrong hire. So I do recommend reading Reed Hastings No Rules rule book. If you want to build a talent density at your organization, these hard conversations and the decisions taken early will actually help everyone, not just you, everyone in the team. So that's why it's a lot more important why you need to hire slow and fire fast. Yeah, this is a pretty new trend which has been not pretty, I would say, in all FANG companies, like Facebook, Google, Microsoft, Amazon. So all these bigger companies, they take almost the reason why, the everyone knows that these companies take 5 to 7 rounds, right? But eh, and you don't even know this 5 to 7 rounds sometimes take a month, more than 2 months, just to do your interview process. It's not your regular 1 hour call technical and another half an hour call with some other technical project manager or HR person. No, it's not your 1 hour or 2 hour of interview, and when you get an offer letter out of it. So I guess every organization doesn't matter how small they are or how big they are. I think we should actually start hiring slow, making and make sure that you get the right one who actually. So there's no right one, I would say always, but make sure that whoever it is the hire, make sure that they fit your team culture. So automatically, if they fit your culture, automatically in a period of a time, they will be your right one as well. So let me know your thoughts on this one. Let's talk about going back to office. Yeah, so I'm really interested in talking about going back to office. Since July 6th, in my entire current client where I currently work, all the full-time employees have been asked to come to an office. So they have been going to office entire 5 days in a week. So yeah, for them the work has been started, but just for us, right now the client has requested a couple of our departments continue to work remote because they have seen a couple of benefits. And last 1.5 year, the investment which they have done in the virtual desktops, and they realized that, and majority of my team members or the other peer teams as well, the people who have joined, they actually joined within the condition during the pandemic time that they really don't have any plan to relocate this work uh, to the work location. So to begin with their hire itself, this is their prerequisite that they would like to be in a fully remote. So yeah, so uh, this is a case about the multiple organization, but in every meeting you see that people are they were actually pretty excited about the July 4th long weekend. At the same time, actually many shared a concern, or I would say a disappointment, that they have to be in a office from July 6th onwards. So yeah, so it's not the same in every country, as you know. Just that in the US, majority of, not really majority, I would say, just that because if you really follow the numbers, although the vaccination got started from March and April mid, and so many of whom who are actually interested to take the vaccines, people have taken their first shot, second shot, and they have completed their 2 weeks of the quarantine as well after the vaccination. But if you look at the larger numbers after a couple of months now, you still see that only 46 percentile in US have been double dose vaccinated, first and second both are done. And the people who are actually only single shot vaccination, they are also, I would say, they got it done around only the first vaccination, that is around 50 to 55%. So there is still some 45 or 54 or some 50 percentile of the people who have not taken, I would say, are not even a single dose of vaccination, or they might have taken a single dose, and people have not taken a second dose of vaccination. So there is still half of the adult population is over there who have not taken or not ready to take the vaccination. This is very much visible right now because all there are a lot of mass vaccination sites are available. There is no shortage of appointments in US, but still you can see that right now we are in mid of July, and you can clearly see that why this number is staying in that, stalling in that 44 to 50 percentile since more than a month now, because people who are actually interested to take the vaccination, they already took it in April, May, June, and July. So they're actually done with all their shots. But now the real numbers, the people who are anti-vaccines, is pretty much visible. And just read about Delta variant out there, right? So it's still not done. Just look at the US numbers. In the United States, yeah, it has reported last year like a 4 lakh on average, 7 day average. The number used to be there, but slowly it came to 1 lakh, then 80,000, 60, 50, 20, 10. And just look into 3 4 weeks back, the chart was almost down to 7 day average was somewhere, COVID cases were hardly 2,500 or 3,000. So that was that much less. But just notice from June third week onwards, entire July fourth weekend, and now the 7 day average is beyond 12,000 to 14,000. So let me just quickly check it. I have the app on my mobile, so I'm pretty fast. I can quickly check it once because and I use COVID-19 tracker, which is provided by Bing. It's a Microsoft one. So let's quickly switch over to the graphs. We can see how exactly I can read that. So daily spreads right now. Let me select last 60 days. So the graph is very much visible. So as I said, 7 day average somewhere on, it was sitting in 2,000 new cases. The 7 day average, it was that much less in somewhere in the June beginning. But now the cases are 7-day average July 5th was 18,000, and then 21,000 July 7th. So 24,000 now. So just think how much the Delta variant is actually impacting. So if Alpha variant was 10% effective and 10% more transmission to multiple people, but now if you just notice, just give me a second, I just got some quick text from my wife. Um, Okay. So if you just notice the Delta variant was so much, it's a 50% more effective and 50% more transmissional, I would say. So, yeah, I'm not a doctor on it. So I follow some of the great scientists who actually do some LinkedIn newsletters. So I read their weekly curated article that gives me a complete in detail overview of what's exactly happening rather than checking everyday news. Much easier to read weekly newsletter, which actually combines and all the things which are happening, not just in the US, all over the world. So yeah, so based upon that information from that article, I would say the numbers, as I just mentioned you guys, I just read it from the app right now. So just see the numbers which came from 4 lakh to 2,000, and now again the scale since last 3 to 4 weeks, it's now raised to 24,000. So it is still there, but yeah, I'm not against going back to office. Even if you ask me, I would love to go back to office. Yeah, but at the same time, I'm a great fan of remote culture as well. Any employer who says that it's pretty hard to manage a remote team, even I agree that sometimes in the conference calls it's very hard to keep your point. It's very hard to make yourself visible in that audio calls, making sure that the people understand your point. There's a proper feedback is there. So yeah, even we know that a lot people get into technicality issues for audio call and video calls. So even yeah, it's a pain, but I definitely will say that jobs which can be done remote should actually allowed for everyone to do remote. So I'm not talking about like doctors should be remote or so any healthcare workers, so they have to be on the location to do the surgeries and all, right? But the jobs like that, the technology, especially the technology related jobs, which can be done remote, right? So any job which can be done remote, I'm literally a big fan of allowing such a team to work remote. Yeah, if you don't know how to do, there's tons of articles, tons of books are there how to make sure your remote team works. Or just ask any desi guy, they will let you know because people have experience working on a different time zone with teams in US, UK, and Canada, and all in India especially, right? So people, any desi guy, if you ask, they have ton of experience how to make your remote work uh, a winning team. So any desi guy can tell you if you ask anyone. So yeah, I hate to listen to an answer that remote doesn't work. People who haven't tried it or who don't push themselves to give it a more try, only they will say these things. You really have to give your 100% in order to make your remote work. People have to take their management skills, how to maintain a remote team. So it's definitely a skill to be learned. So not your regular project management skills are not enough to handle your remote team. Right? So yeah, so not talking about remote. So basically, like issue is now everyone is asked to come back, so people have showing the disappointment, right? So at one end there are people who are showing disappointment, at other end you can see that, some other person can come back, oh, why exactly they are just crying it over, entire pandemic I was actually working remote, right? So I'm not talking about everyone, I'm just talking about the jobs which can be done remote should allow to do a remote. It gives a greater flexibility for employer, greater flexibility to employer to hire from people from anywhere in the world. At the same time, even for an employee, it's a greater advantage that they can do a better their work life balance. But if you really see, we all actually jumbled and fallen into this remote culture since last 15 months, right? So I don't think it would be a lie if at all you say that we emerged as winning just on the day one, or even after a month. Entire 15 months, you and me, every now and then, we were still figuring it out, how to make the best out of it, how to make our schedule works, how to not over uh, burn out yourself, not work beyond hours just because you're sitting in your home, right? So everyone was actually learning everything, every minute thing, a day by day, month by month, week by week, right? So I'm just talking about those type of jobs. So one thing is employers are actually mandating to come. Some employers, bigger organizations, are actually at least saying that come 3 days in office, 2 days remote. But there are some who are actually asking to come all the 5 days to an office, right? So I don't think they are really looking into total number of COVID deaths which last 15 months, what we have seen. And I'm not saying vaccinations won't work. Vaccination works. There's enough proof that vaccination definitely work. Vaccination will actually help you not to get at least hospitalized. Even you get in a COVID after vaccination, that's fine, but at least you'll not get hospitalized. At least that much proof is there in the scientific world as well. So many of the employers are actually simply mandating to the come. And no, I would say employers is to take a step back here. That's fine. You want your team to come back. You want your team to be in front of you. You want to have that in-person communication. But I would say, don't simply ask everyone to come back. Why don't you start small, scale by scale, right? Ask a couple of people to come back who really wanted to be in office. Why don't you call them first, then s- and then slowly call the people in some order, so that everyone have some slow phase, and you can see how exactly uh, this delta variant or any other variant out there, and how exactly it will play around, right? So what's the point of hurrying when the cases which dropped to 2000 and suddenly bumped to 24,000 now in US? And so what's the point of rushing and asking everyone to come to an office? First, make sure, rather than passing on such a mandate, in last 15 months, people who can afford, they try to reach out for their mental health. And uh, and they took their any help which they can obtain from mental health. But people who cannot afford such type of facilities, they actually burnt out even in the last 15 months. So I would say, as an employer, what at least what you can do is take a step back, allow do that scaled approach of allowing people to be in office, or try to give some in-house training material. So just treat yourself like you're onboarding a resource newly into your team. So just treat it like that, how exactly you treat your new hire when they onboard. You don't throw them into your well and say, this is where you need to live, right? So you'll actually do a phased manner approach to onboard it. So just do the same thing even for your office reopening. Make sure that you onboard your team, as in how you take care of your fresh hire, right? So make sure that that culture is understood, and from where they're coming back, try to understand one-on-one personal last 15 months what they have been. You don't know, right? There's so many COVID deaths around the world, so we don't know what each individual person might have gone through in their 15 months. So definitely employer has a greater role as well to play here. If not, just look into the us last 2 months. Job shuffling is a term which has been uh, traveling in every career articles which you have seen. The reason is, people who are actually out of job, they have tried different types of careers just to in order to run the paychecks. And now, as the economy is getting reopened, people are actually not readily available because they moved to a different careers. And now they, as they're in a different career platforms, and maybe that's their point of interest now, that they don't want to come back to their original uh, career point, right? So and a lot of job shuffling is happening. And this, and especially when employers are treating such a mandate, not trying to figure it out, then employees will what they are doing is they simply looking for other opportunities which are fully remote or which are flexible to them, if not remote, having some flexible schedule. So don't get into a relationship where you make your employee feel that their voice is not heard at all. Yeah. So if you really make your employee feel like that, then there is no other options for them as well to start looking around. So, and it's just a matter of time before you realize you'll be seeing cracks in your team. And the last 15 months, the same team who have actually helped you uh, mm, during this time. So you, as an employer, you may make sure that they had the job at the same time. Um, so employer, one thing is they take care of lot about their running business running model. They take care a lot about their shareholders, their market value, and all that. But the people behind your shareholder, your market revenue, your business model, the employees are the one who actually run the show for you, right? So if they are the one who was running show for you, you have to take those additional steps to, to take care of them as well, okay? Or else the only option is job shifting. So let me know if your office is reopened and if you guys are planning to go back. And are you really excited or are you disappointed in order to go back to your office? Just let me know. Thank you. And let's talk about the third topic, which is onboard your team right. Yeah, yeah. I'm definitely. I would like to talk about how uh, how to onboard the right team. We talked multiple times about the teams in this podcast, right? So very first and most important thing is this has to be done at an individual level. See, first thing is an individual person, they should have an engage. They should pretty much engage with your work. They should be excited about your work, right? So people should have such type of an engagement with it. So that engagement with the people you work with and engagement with your organization. So at an individual level, they need to have they should be excited about their work, why exactly they are coming daily to the work. They should be excited about their daily day-to-day work, what they are planning to do, what they plan to accomplish in their month, in the quarter, in the year, right? So that personal engagement should always be there. And look for the person who has this type of zeal and have an engagement towards their work. At the same time, a person whomever you are hiring, that particular person should actually fit to your team culture as well. So what that means is they should be uh, that is nothing but the engagement with the people you work with, which is nothing but a new hire should be able to engage with your own team. It means they have to fit into your team culture, right? If you don't know, your team culture might be pretty laid back. Your team culture might be working an aggressive 1 week sprint cycle. You would like to give your 200% on Monday to Friday in your 1 week of sprint, right? So so you really need to know what is your team culture, how you guys manage your work. So that level of, and at the same time individual should have engagement with the organization goals as well. So if any person whom you can whom you can hire, a person who can engage with their own work, or they can engage with the people whom they work with, or they can engage with the organization goals. So look into these three engagement levels. That guy is a perfect person. That guy so it doesn't matter which gender. So that person is the one is in a right on board for your team. So how do you do that is always before getting into on a team level, rethink at an individual level. See, it's all about their work. So explain in a one-on-one calls. So have a one-on-one calls with the respective team members and try to coach them uh, rather than assign task in a master and a slave mode. Okay, so make sure that any conversation should be in a coaching style. So then once you have that initial one-on-one with them, and you let them know what is their work and all that, then slowly engage a new hire with your entire team. So, and once you engage the person within your entire team, that actually allows them to work as in a group within team. So reframing their sense of belongingness in the team and in the organization is pretty important. So if you look at any of these things which I have just said, without having the human connection, it's not possible for you to do one-on-one session, do your coaching, or not to have the team connection. A new hire should be able to engage, right? So any new hire will be able to engage with your own team. So, so in order to do all these things, the human connection is much needed. For me, the topmost priority for any new hire, when you hire, any forget about new hire, any team member, I would say, topmost priority is psychological safety. We talked about this multiple times. There should not be any person in your team who should be scared or feel ignorant in your team, not even able to keep their point in your meetings. So there should be a psychological safety should always be there. Any person can give any feedback. Any person can, because if you are not getting that type of feedback, you will be taking certain product to a production, which your team member knows 6 months back itself that this feature is not going to work. So what's the point of maintaining such a team? So the whole point of working as in a team is making sure that everyone in the team actually working towards a common goal. So in order for that to happen, it's pretty important, not just for a new hire, it's for every team member. They should have a psychological safety within their team, which is nothing but resource should feel safe to share the feedback and whatnot. So these are a couple of bullet points which at least I felt that anytime when you onboard a new hire, or you build your team from scratch, try to get these type of resources. At the same time, once you get those type of resources who are engaged with their work, fits into your culture, just try to and have a coaching style, be a coach or a mentor style, or try to get a help from other coaches and mentors in other departments who can help you to onboard a person, right? So it's pretty important that the new hire within the 3 months, they should have that belongingness within the team, they should have that belongingness towards the organization goal. So that's the right way to onboard a new hire into the team. So that be all from my end. So I guess pretty a short podcast. So, but yep, let me know. We discussed about three topics: hire slow and fire fast. Uh, Going back to office, or reopening as a second topic. Office getting reopened, or you guys everyone going back to an office. So what's your thought? The third one, what we talked about is what are the key things in order to build your team from scratch, or what would be the qualities in order to hire a new hire, in order to onboard a new hire into your team. Okay. That be all then. Thank you. Thanks everyone.